How much is enough? When it comes to things we enjoy, it's only natural we always want more. More holidays, more pay, more gadgets, more convenience. More is our motto and something we've come to expect for ourselves and future generations. We may disagree on the specifics or the best way to get there, but it seems like the natural way society should progress. But what if always demanding more ultimately leaves us with less? Would we be willing to question this fundamental belief in order to hold on to what we have? One reason we expect more from the future is that the past has been so successful at delivering it. Since the Industrial Revolution, unprecedented economic growth has transformed society. And though the benefits haven't been shared equally, the overall trend has been clear. As GDP rises, so do standards of living, with literacy, income, and life expectancy improving worldwide. Unfortunately, there have also been corresponding increases in pollution, temperature, and extinctions. But economists and politicians have been eager to reassure us that this doesn't mean growth has to end. If we switch to renewable energy, increase efficiency, and recycle like crazy, then we can transition to what's often called green growth, saving the environment whilst otherwise carrying on as usual. This is a comforting message, and it's become a rallying cry in many countries. There's just one snag. It isn't working. Despite huge advances in recycling and renewables, pollution isn't actually dropping, just increasing less quickly. And meanwhile, global temperatures continue to rise. At the current rate, we won't be able to create a green economy before we do irreversible damage to the planet. This realization has convinced a growing number of people that tweaking the existing system isn't enough, and instead we need to adopt a whole new one, most commonly known as degrowth. The basic argument is that unlimited growth is impossible on a planet with limited resources. Sooner or later, it will become unsustainable. And according to degrowth advocates, some parts of the world have already reached that point, making now the time to start scaling back. Admittedly, that's a hard sell. If growth equals more, degrowth equals less, right? Meaning recession, layoffs, cuts to public services, life getting generally tougher. But it's more complicated than that. Degrowthers argue that while economic growth is vital when a country's population is stuck in poverty, once people's needs are met, it starts to offer diminishing returns. Things do continue to improve, but for fewer people, while environmental damage continues to escalate. Wouldn't it be better, they say, if we could improve things for more people overall without tipping over into endless destructive consumption? Well, sure, but what would that look like in practice? Fundamentally, it would mean a change of priorities, away from growth and towards well-being. For example, one policy already being trialed in some organizations is a 4-day week, which might seem like it would be bad for productivity. But from a degrowth perspective, that's the whole point. If we reduce the time spent commuting to work, making things out of natural resources, then delivering them via carbon fuel transportation, we'll be doing less environmental damage while simultaneously freeing people up to enjoy more leisure time. This is just one of many ideas collected under the degrowth banner, alongside proposals like carbon taxes to reduce air travel and cutting back on mining. And while these might sound pretty radical to our productivity-attuned ears, they make much more sense when we remember something that should be obvious: that the economy exists to serve people, not the other way around. Unsurprisingly, though, this idea has its critics. Some economists argue not just that green growth is infinitely sustainable, but that there's actually no other way out of this mess, because the innovations we need to solve climate change will require investment, which only a growing economy can provide. But what's surprising is just how deep the disagreement goes, with debates raging not just over the finer details, but also the fundamentals, like how growth is even defined in the first place. While academics are always getting into hair-splitting arguments, it would be nice if they could at least agree on the basics, because this is the future of humanity we're talking about. And when experts hold such wildly opposing views, it's almost impossible for the rest of us to figure out which side is right. And that uncertainty threatens to distract us from taking action. Because it should be clear by now that even if degrowth doesn't sound immediately appealing, we've got to do something about our impact on the environment. beyond what we've tried already. There's no denying that degrowth is a radical idea, maybe more than any other in history, because it's so at odds with the human instinct to expand that got us where we are today. But put another way, degrowth isn't about abandoning our love of more. It's about reconsidering what we want more of. More health for ourselves and the planet. A system that works for more people. And ultimately, more of a future.